Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey. Now in this video I'd like to discuss the issue of doorways, of jumping behavior as you have guests or visitors or family members come into your home with your dog jumping on people and barging towards the door, or even trying to go beyond that and escape to the front of the yard. How to start to create a boundary line, so to speak, so that people who you are inviting into your home can come in with a with personal space without the without the dog jumping on them, invading their space, and making people basically not want to even come over and visit because of your dog. How to start to lay the groundwork and foundation stones to change that behavior issue. So how I start to get this type of behavior under control is start to create relational change. You have to understand that everything that happens when it comes to behavior is because of a misalignment in the roles themselves. So if you picture behavior issues as kind of branches coming off a tree, with the tree itself as defined as being the relational role, as the lead role, then those branches coming off are the behavior issues which are connected to that change in the dog's decision-making process. So how a dog, how they interact at the relational level pivots off that role. So issues such as doorways, entry points, with that represents kind of almost like narcissistic supply, but at the same time what they're doing is they're objectifying the dog owner. They don't have any respect, so to speak. There's no type of they're not staying within the boundaries of the follower script of that relational role, because it hasn't been defined yet. So one of the first things I do is show doggos how to start to use what I define as follower moments, creating those moments throughout the day to start to change out the foundational stones, and then creating or treating the doorway as a separate type of an exercise. It's like a relational exercise to start to halt the dog's mind from pushing out and invading and starting to continue to objectify the dog owner as people come in through. So one of the techniques I use, and I really encourage you to check out my book, Beyond the Leash Dog Psychology Training Guide. One of the techniques I use, and it's described in this guide, is what I define as the push and pull method. And what the push and pull method is, and I'm going to show you just the interplay of that method here as defined in the guide. I don't know how much clarity you'll get from this, but basically what it is having the dog need to get a hold of the dog. So the idea here with the push-pull method is what you're doing is you're targeting the dog's decision-making process. You're bringing the dog's mind under a state of influence that's held in that state. So what it is, it's bringing, it's like a line coming through the person. It's a conditional state, so you're bringing the dog's mind under influence. So whoever is coming through that doorway, what's happening is that person is being, because you're inviting them in as a guest, you're bringing them in, basically you're reshuffling the deck, so to speak, the hierarchy, so that person is ahead of the dog within this context. So as you keep a hold or influence over the dog's mind, it brings the mind in through. So the person, it's like you own that person, the owner does. It's defined as saying, okay, you'll meet the person, but it's going to be within the follower script. And how this happens is you bring the dog into a sit position. So somebody, for example, you'll need a helper to do this, or if you're by yourself, you can set it up using, say, a crate, or another place you can put your dog temporarily. But basically with a helper, what happens is the helper or the spouse can attend to the door while you have the dog on the leash, or your arm, and your fingers become the leash and hook. But you're going to bring the dog, bring the dog within the sit position. You're not going to use a command, but you're going to bring the dog within the sit position, but from a distance. So how far away depends on how at what level the dog's expressing that state of mind, the mind's pulling out, kind of wrapping around that person's coming in. So you may want to create quite a bit of distance. So it's kind of set in motion. So as soon as a person comes in, and this is something where you can actually practice with people, so it kind of extends into a more of a controlled exercise. But as the doorbell rings, or as the person comes in, you have the dog on the leash, you bring the dog into the sit position, and you're starting to create these follower moments. So you're starting to target the dog's decision-making process. You're starting to pull, grab the dog's mind, and you're bringing it in through. And you'll see how this interplay happens. You'll see the dog's head turn into you. So it's not based on corrective influence. And my book, Mind and Body Kinetics, which I'm about to release, I really show the difference between relational influence and corrective influence. Okay, there's a difference. It's how I'm applying influence, which creates relational change. So it's more proactive based. It's based on the person being objectified, the owner being objectified. So you bring the dog's mind under influence prior to an escalation of behavior. So this push-pull technique, and this is what you're using for the methodology to create this setup for this. So the dog is going to accept other people. Is you're using the sit position. You're bringing the dog into the sit position beside you, and then at the kind of pinnacle of the push-pull method, you're pushing on the dog's upper shoulder blade area with one hand while you're pulling up on the leash with the other. So you're bringing influences happening through both directions, and you're maintaining that. But again, when you do this, and again, this picture here shows it pretty good. Right here, you'll see the head turned in here towards me as I'm pushing and pulling here. So within like I said, this book, Beyond the Leash, it describes step by step that technique. And what it does is, as you use that technique in a consistent way, it starts to take hold, and the foundation stones get changed out. And what it does is defines a boundary line. So the methodology, or that push-pull technique, is used consistently for a period of time, and then what happens is it goes away. You don't have to use it, because once it's established, once that relational changes happen, people will come in through the doorway. Your dog is going to be well-mannered and sit, and even the verbal, with how the dog is going to be listening to you. And then the person comes in, there's no jumping, the person's space isn't being invaded, the dog isn't circling around, because you can always tell, if you look through the relational lens, you'll see how dogs interact and objectify the person, interact and invade people's space. You'll see, give you some clarity as to the level of relational change that needs to happen. But when you're changing it, as it's established and defined, then, like I said, people can come in and you don't have a problem, they can enjoy it, and then they can interact and pet on your dog, and it becomes an enjoyable experience for the visitors or family members. So it's just a matter of understanding how all these relational pieces connect through the methodology. And again, I really encourage you to check out my book, Beyond the Leash, Dog Psychology Training Guide, available through my website directly, or Barnes & Noble, or Amazon Kindle. So just a matter of checking it out. And again, it has the techniques in there to establish this method, so you can get areas such as the doorway within that follower script, and so you can have people come in without a problem at all. So again, thanks very much for watching. I hope this gives you a little insight into how to get that happening with doorways and with people coming into your home. Hope you have a great day.